ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Brothers and sisters, we continue from the preparation for the month of Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us barakah and blessings in the remaining days of Sha'ban that we have and allow us to witness the month of Ramadan, inshallah. With regards to fasting, we spoke about that yesterday as well, that fasting is not just fasting itself, but to fulfill the haqq, the right of fasting. As the Nabi of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned, that there are specific doors to Jannah for the qualities and attributes of individuals that allows them to enter through that. So fasting is one of them. There's another hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this hadith is from Sunan at-Tirmidhi. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in this particular hadith that fasting is a shield from the fire of Jahannam. That's one hadith. There is another hadith that Rasulullah ﷺ mentioned that fasting is a shield so long as a person does not tear away the shield itself. So two ahadith. That one is that fasting itself is a shield from the fire of Jahannam. And number two, fasting is a shield so long as a person wearing that shield does not tear that away. So as we all know, subhanAllah, brothers and sisters, that fasting itself is a means of protection for many wrongs and evils, right? And whenever I come across this hadith, there's one analogy that comes to my mind specifically, is that for many of us, we have mobile phones, one or two or few. And what happens the first day that you get that phone for yourself? I think along with getting the phone, the first thing that you look for is a good case and a good covering for the screen itself, the screen protector. Why? Because you don't want it to break, you don't want it to fall, you don't want scratches to come inside, there are keys inside your pocket. And all of these things are done to secure something that is precious for us, right? You spend $1,000+ upon something and you want to make sure that you keep it secure. And for many individuals, they never even get to see the color of their phones because the screen cover or the case itself is always protecting it. So I always think that subhanAllah, with things of dunya, when we value things of this world material, we're so keen to protecting it. And there's nothing wrong in protecting that. That's perfectly fine. But subhanAllah, imagine the protection that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provides for us through fasting. Right? It's a shield for us. It's a protection for us. But it's our responsibility to protect that shield as well. Right? It's like a room which has a beautiful room temperature in this beautiful masjid. But if you open up the windows and you open up the doors and you don't take care of the venues where heat and cold can come in and exit from, you can never be comfortable in the space itself. So shield means that we need to protect our eyes, we need to protect our ears, we need to protect our tongues, we need to protect our hands, our minds, all body parts that lead towards our heart, right? What we see directly impacts our heart, right? May Allah forgive, may Allah forgive. Why is there no khushu and devotion in my salah today? Why is the sajda that I make today, bowing down my forehead on the ground, I still don't remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And we as general, I speak for myself, why is it happening? Because we're unable to control our eyes from wrong. We're unable to control our ears from wrong, our tongues from speaking, our minds from thinking. And all of these have direct impact on our heart. So the essence of fasting is to develop a heart that is conscious of Allah, taqwa and fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in order to develop that taqwa, we need to develop the routes and connections that develop that heart itself. Whatever we see directly impacts our heart. The Nabi of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in a hadith that the sight is from amongst the arrows of shaitan. Hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whenever it looks at something, it takes an image and impacts on the hearts of an individual. Imagine what our eyes go through the entire day, right? And our ears of what we hear, and minds what we think, and our hands what we're doing, and all of that has a direct impact on our hearts. So inshallah, as we come closer to the month of Ramadan, when we look at this hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that fasting is a shield from the fire of Jahannam, that shield needs to be protected by all of us. That protection of the shield not only means that we avoid drinking or eating or relationship with our families during the month of Ramadan or during the time of fasting, but it means to protect our eyes from haram, to protect our ears from listening to wrong, from ghiba, from gossip, from backbite, from things that are meaningless and wasting of our time. And inshallah, if we're able to develop that for a few weeks continuously and for the month of Ramadan, we're very hopeful that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will allow us to develop this for the rest of our life. The purpose of fasting is to develop this for the rest of our life. And I'll conclude with this. There's a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that a person who prays in Takbiratul Ula with the first takbir in the Jama'at behind the Imam for 40 days, there's a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that they will be given two benefits. They will never be considered as a munafiq, a hypocrite, and they will not enter the fire of Jahannam. That doesn't mean that after 40 days you don't have to pray anymore. It means that after 40 days you'll be punctual enough to do this for the rest of your life. Meaning it will become a part of your life. When you do something so continuous, it becomes a part. So inshallah, when the month of Ramadan begins, even before that, let's start from now. Avoid from things that are impacting our hearts, our eyes, our hands, and our ears, our minds, and our thoughts, and our words. Let's all control them as much as we can and allow our hearts to be nourished with taqwa and the fear and the consciousness of Allah. May Allah give us tawfiq to practice, inshallah. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, subhanakallah wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka.